You're watching Life Now. Life in your own words. Hello, thank you for tuning in to Life Now. Life in your own words. My name is Jamie. I am the creator and co-host of Life Now.
And hi, I'm Rashida Iman, better known as Red, and I have your daily hot tea.
My name is Kawana, better known as Keiki, and I'm doing the special K report.
And my name is Vanessa, and I will be coming to you on a serious note.
My segment is Research Really. And that means, did they really do research on that? CNN recently posted on its webpage an article on research conducted by Twitter. And we all have heard of Twitter, right? Part of our social networking community. The research was on the happiest states according to Twitter. Researchers at the University of Vermont reviewed more than 10 million geotagged tweets from 2011 to map out the moods of Americans in urban areas. They ranked the locations based on frequency of positive and negative words used. They actually used the Mechanical Turk language assessment word list. Now, I don't know about you guys out there, but I've never heard of the Mechanical Turk language assessment word list. I'm like, mechanical what and who is Turk? Mm-hmm. And if you're wondering what is the Mechanical Turk language assessment word list, it is a list of words created by Amazon's crowdsourced laborers at the Mechanical Turk's language assessment facility. The words and frequency of words that the Mechanical Turk works deemed to be positive were words like rainbow, hope, nice, and beautiful, and it caused the tweet's happiness score to increase.
So these are words that people use in their tweets?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
These are words that people in America's urban areas used in their tweets that Twitter decided would cause the happiness scale or happiness score to increase. And the use of words like bored, stupid, hate, and ugly were found to be negative, and they caused the tweet's happiness scale to kind of go down, the score to actually go down. Now, let me get to the results. This is what I had an issue with. So it causes me to question how ethical is this research. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting because it actually caught my attention. Hawaii ranked number 1 for the happiest state in the United States of America.
I mean, Hawaii is...
Hawaii.
I mean, they have...
Who would not be happy in Hawaii?
Yeah.
I mean, they have like this beautiful scenery.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all these tourists and everything. People go there to vacation.
Married, you know.
People get married there. You know, I mean, it's the beach. I mean, you have a lot of people who go there, you know, and don't leave. I want to live here, and they stay, and they work in the hospitality industry. I mean, so why wouldn't they be happy? On the other hand, I feel like it's a little, they're trying to put a scientific spin on something that can't be measured.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not exact. It's like weight. You're never going to get a consistent and exact measure with weight. You will always be off.
Right.
Okay. But this is the interesting thing about it. I thought, just like you guys thought, I said, okay, Hawaii. Who wouldn't be happy in Hawaii? Because the first thing I said, or I saw in my mind's eye, when I saw Hawaii ranked number 1, I saw water, I saw the skyline, you know, the different exotic fruits and whatnot. Well, after I just read everything, I deduced that people in Hawaii, when they're on Twitter, they use words like beautiful, nice, hope, and rainbow. Okay?
It's the scenery.
But here's the kicker. Here is the kicker. The state that was considered, that ranked the saddest state.
Oh, God.
The state that ranked last as the saddest state in the United States of America.
I guess. Somewhere in the South.
Louisiana. Louisiana. And so I was just like, hold up. Yeah. I was like, hold on.
They ain't saying when they eat.
That's right.
People ain't tweeting when they eat.
That's right. People ain't tweeting like that. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Right. People ain't tweeting when they eat.
So what was the reason for Louisiana?
They said obviously people who used Twitter and were tweeting on Twitter used words like negative words such as mad, hate, no, boo, smoke in jail. Now, I'm a Southern girl, and I was born and raised in Louisiana.
Yeah.
This is where I came in thinking, okay, yeah, I've done research, and we've all done some type of research somewhere, whether it's been professional or our own. I clearly, after I read this, I was like, okay, wait a minute. What about the context in which a word is used?
Right.
Well, here, boo is a term of endearment, and it's not restricted to just Louisiana.
And man, those shoes are mad fly.
Yeah. I'm like, who's conducting this research? Is it like people, baby boomers? I don't know. I don't mean to offend anybody. Well, yes, I do. I don't care. They may be mad. Louisiana is ranked the saddest state. Then there was this.
According to Twitter.
Yeah, and I said this. They missed us. Now, obviously, they did not conduct this research during Mardi Gras, because during Mardi Gras, we would have blew the happiness score. So that's the research that I looked at. You know, and if you want to follow that research and read up on the article, you can find it on CNN. It's the research conducted by Twitter, the happiest and saddest states in the United States of America. Louisiana. Do we look sad? No. No.
That's sad about me, baby.
That note, speaking of sad states, I want to say New York is a sad state. Because, baby, let me tell you what I found.
Okay, we're going into the red tie tea. Pour it.
Yes, let's pour some tea today, baby. Let me tell you this. A Whole Foods store in New York City has taken down a sign depicting President Obama eating chicken after customers deemed it offensive. And you know, I'm like, what? This man was born in Hawaii, one of the happiest states. Why would you show him eating chicken on a billboard? Well, it was a chalk picture. You know, they drew like a chalk picture. They were advertising the chicken. It was organic chicken. But a lot of the customers found it to be very offensive. You know.
I'm sorry.
That's just,
because I have something to say
that's
already.
honest.
Okay, I can say, as an African American woman, I have heard about the stereotype that, quote unquote, connects African Americans with chicken and other foods, fruits. You know, I'm not gonna even go there because it'll change the game right here. But I've actually, I remember having an encounter like that. I'd taken my son to see the doctor, and we were discussing his conduct and performance in school, and they were asking how well he was performing in school, and at that time he was doing really good. So we thought that the treatment regimen that the doctor had him under was working for him, and I was like, he's doing good, his grades have improved and everything. And the doctor looks at my son, who is about 8 or 9, and says, you want to, in an accent, not necessarily familiar to the United States, says to my son, you want to continue to do well in school, right? And my son said, yeah. And that way you can get a treat. You can get lots of chicken and watermelon.
Wow.
Yeah. So, if I told the person about what they said and how I found it offensive, I almost found myself educating the person on how that stereotype has been connected to African Americans over, you know, span of years, you know, decades and whatnot. I almost felt like they heard somebody say it and didn't really understand it and used it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I was always taught the worst thing, the one thing that's worse than a fool, my grandmother, and this is homage to Big Mama, is an educated fool.
Right.
If you don't know what you're talking about, I'm sorry, but I don't want to take over. So
all was said and done, the Whole Foods spokesperson reported an apology and stated that the picture was not intended to be disrespectful, but you know, you just don't put something up like that.
I mean, I don't think they even have an image out there of him eating chicken, so I don't know where they would decide that was okay. I can see where their thought process may have led them to say, oh, well, let's show the president eating our organic chicken.
My thing is, why should you use the president?
I can see them saying, because he's highly esteemed, and if the president makes these choices, maybe other people will make these choices. They want to sell this chicken, obviously, but they didn't think about You know, how that looks, how that stereotype is.
And you gotta run that through the mill.
Yeah. And you know, and the thing about those stereotypes is, you know, like I always like to pretend like I like to bring attention to it mostly. I say, you know, like somebody makes it, you know, says something on black people eat chicken, or you know, they kind of refer to it. I'm like, oh well, I know everybody. I know a lot of people, a lot of races who eat chicken. So, but if you think that. You know, I mean, and that makes them look like the person who's pointing out race. Look like.
And I commend you for the way that you come at it, because you know me, I'm real comedic, and I can be sarcastic too. So I'm kind of like this. You know, do you think every time you see a portrait of a black family, it's a bunch of us, and you see a chicken somewhere in the background?
I mean, but there is art depicted that depicts black people eating watermelon. Eating chicken. This stereotype did not just come out of thin air. This stereotype was you know, kind of hammered into our unconsciousness, you know, and it comes from people creating these. And a lot of times, this art wasn't created to hurt black people. It was created because that's the way, you know, that our culture was, you know. It wasn't created to hurt. They caught us in a moment, and then that moment became something ugly. You know, so... You know, I mean, sometimes you just have to throw that stuff to the wayside. You just kind of have to show this is racist, and you are the one pointing it out, and you are the one.
And I'm gonna say this. You know what? In defense of President Obama could eat a chocolate-covered roach and still look good. I think the man is good, and that's it.
You know, this is the Special K report. You know, you guys, and the Special K report is basically looking at the judicial system.
Ooh.
I know. Well, he actually is a bouncer, and he worked at a club happening. But one of the assaultants or whatever, or one of the people who was doing the assault, he stabbed the bouncer in the eye, and this man's eye was damaged to the point we had to lose it. He now has a prosthetic eye. Well, they're in court, and they are, you know, he's crying, he's talking about how he lost his eye, he's very upset about it. And his prosthetic eye falls out in the courtroom onto the table.
That's scary.
And
I'm sorry, did the eye roll?
I don't know if it rolled.
That means
I don't know if it rolled, but it fell out. And the judge declared a mistrial. He did not want the jury to be swayed by this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I mean, it just makes me wonder. It's like, okay, there's the evidence right there. And is it really stricken? Like, can you really say, take this from people's eye? They saw that. They saw that this man lost his eye. Can you really do that? And it just makes me wonder, like what effect does that really have? You know? And why waste the tax dollars by declaring a mistrial? You have to have another trial and all of that because they saw something that you didn't want them to see to sway them. But obviously, it's evidence.
And let's just be real about it. His eye fell out of his head. Okay? And I don't know, it would give a more dramatic effect if it rolled, but nevertheless, it fell out of the socket, out of his head. The judge can say whatever he wants. Let's strike that from the whatever the word is that the judge strike it from the record. You can strike it from the record, and the stenographer can strike it from her report. But when we go back in that room and deliberate, did y'all see his eye fall out of his head? Somebody's eye fall out of their head. I'm gonna remember that. He can strike whatever he wants. I'm sorry, pay the man.
My concern is that it was just a mistrial. I mean, like that's similar to, you know what I'm saying, somebody who just had some type of surgery or something like that or whatever. They're still in the hospital and stuff, and it's like, oh, we gotta take them back in and stuff, like we gotta sew them back up because they still bleed and stuff like that. We're not gonna say, oh, you know what? Well, we already had the surgery, so but that doesn't count. So you just go and leave and come back another day. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't do that. You can't.
That's sad.
Well, I guess you can do that.
Well,
I mean, I guess it doesn't make sense to me to have a whole nother day for it just because his eye fell out.
Yeah, because it ain't their eye. They don't have to worry about it. It ain't their eye. It ain't their eye they dabbing. It ain't their eye that's falling out while he's trying to make love to his woman, and then his eye falling out. That, you know, I'm sorry, because my mind will take it and run with it. But that's sad. Yeah, Miss Stroud, go ahead and wrap that thing up and pay that.
Yeah, wrap it up and just let him get his due. Let's handle it. Let's pay the man, give him his money. You know, and let him go about his life the best that he can.
I would love to see how that case turned out.
Yeah.
With the verdict.
I'm gonna look into it and update you guys.
And now on a serious note.
We will
Go ahead, give it to me.
Okay. There was an article published in Newsweek in 2009. A study was done at the University of Utah, and the study is about how men and women leave their spouses or leave relationships when the partner is diagnosed with a serious illness or cancer. The study was conducted with a group of 500 patients, men and women that had brain cancer, multiple sclerosis, and other types of cancers. And they found that marriages and relationships are 7 times more likely to end when someone is diagnosed with a serious illness or cancer. 7 times more likely. And it shows that men are more likely to abandon their spouses who are sick than women are.
Don't. Ooh.
Women are more likely to take the caregiver role when the men become sick, which was stated by Deborah Carr in this research study. She's a sociologist at Rutgers University. She also stated that death and major life-threatening illnesses can throw a wrench into the plan. And I can kind of see how that goes, because sometimes, things will happen unexpectedly in a relationship, but it's not like breaking an arm, or breaking a leg or catching a common cold. But when someone is seriously ill, when you're married, you have agreed to be there for that person, for your spouse, through sickness and in health. And a lot of times I think that people don't realize when they say, I was, through sickness and in health till death do us part, that's very, very serious. So you have agreed to that before your family and God and friends and whoever, but it's just that serious, but people don't,
My question to you is, did you come across anything that says anything related to, I don't know, race, culture?
Our culture expects us to perform certain duties when we, whether it's cleaning, taking care of the kids, going to work, providing for the family, and when, like it was stated, when the wrench is thrown in, you're forced to deal with this situation that you may not be prepared for. And some people think that, I didn't sign up for this,
Right?
Because I read a comment where one of the cancer survivors stated that she had cancer, and her husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Okay.
And she left him and stated that I didn't sign up for this, and she just left. And there was another comment where one lady indicated that when she went through cancer treatment, her husband was not there for her. He was in his own world doing his thing, similar to my situation when I was diagnosed. But the thing was that she said she had to have a complete hysterectomy, and after she had the hysterectomy, her husband started telling her, asking her, well, can we have a baby? I'm going to try to make a baby.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's
And
like...
she has...
And he was aware that she had a hysterectomy?
Yeah.
He couldn't tell you the name of her doctors or anything.
Oh, he was just that detached?
Yes.
Wow.
He was just that detached. And in my situation, like when I did go through my treatment, my husband was not there for me, but I just thank God that I had an enormous amount of support and help from family and friends that were there. I didn't have a whole lot of time to focus on him not being there. It did hurt, but the right people were there.
Women have already deal with that. They're in our culture. They already know how to take on all those hats, but men don't.
Yeah.
So maybe something needs to change in our culture with the way we raise our men.
I noticed something in this male and female thing. When women come across a man who is good looking, intelligent, and financially stable, and he is either married or in a relationship, and he is faithful to his woman, we look at him like, oh, you must be the last of the Mohicans.
Right.
Oh, yeah, like he's an endangered species. And when, even more so, I think men who stick it out with their wives or significant other, and even in same-sex relationships, men, and that's the interesting thing, because in same-sex relationships, especially with homosexuals, it's been my observation. I have no statistics to support this, but same-sex couples who may have a diagnosis of HIV or AIDS, they stick it out. The divorce rate amongst them is low.
Probably really low, yeah.
Really low. And that could be the same for lesbian couples. I don't know, but when we come across a man who sticks it out with his wife, who's gone through the hair loss, the loss of weight, dark circles under the eyes, vomiting all night, body racked with pain, and he loves her just like he did the first day he saw her at the football game, and he was scared to go over and say something to her. We're all like, are there more like you? Where y'all hiding at under the bleachers? So.
I'm curious, did you guys go through premarital counseling before?
I wanted to. I asked him to. He did not want to. And even after we were married, I suggested that we go several places, and he refused.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if people who go through premarital counseling, if it plays a role in how serious these people take their vows, and that they have the whole mindset of marriage and what it all entails before they go into it.
I like the word mindset, because here I go again. It goes back to thought. I think we make conscious decisions. People make provisions for what they want to do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it sounds like to me, that he had somewhere in his mind decided that it was over. That is the problem that I have in relationships.
Well, he was coaching baseball at the time with the Little League, and he said, and I was talking to him one day about him not being there, and not coming to see me, because at the time I was living with my parents through my treatment, because my mom thought that was the best place for me, and Mother knows best, and he said that my kids need me.
His kids, the kids on the baseball team?
Yeah. And I was like, I need you too.
Okay.
And it was evident that coaching those little boys and being there for them was more important than
men who have been in relationships with people who have been diagnosed with serious illnesses. Fear is something. Fear can cause your whole processing of the illness to be out of the norm, what society deems is normal, or what the majority deems is normal. We've seen it when women get pregnant. This man treats you like a queen before the pregnancy, but the day you say that you're pregnant, he isolates or alienates you and acts out of sorts. And it may be a fear. I've talked to some guys, and they said things like, "Oh, I was afraid that I wasn't going to be a great father. My father wasn't good to me." And so what you think about, you bring about, you begin to act on it. Right. And so they act out of sorts. And I'm not saying that in your case that your husband wasn't afraid. He probably was afraid. But I do have an issue when you buy into the fear. Right. That's what you did. Be scared together. Be scared together. Right. Do it together.
Well, I cannot even sit here and say that he was afraid, but he did tell me that he was angry. Mm-hmm. And, like months later down the line, he said that he was angry. And I'm like, well, who are you angry with? Because I didn't ask for cancer. Right. I didn't choose it. Right. It's just something that happened. Mm-hmm. You have no control over it. Mm-hmm. So he could never really say who he was angry with God. He didn't say, but the biggest issue was that all of the responsibility fell on him during those few months that I wasn't able to work. Right. And I think that's pretty darn selfish of anybody, if the shoe was on the other foot. Because I'm like, when he had his knee surgery and surgery on his wrist and, anything medical that went on with him, I took off from work. I was there for him. Right. You need this, you need that. Right. And that's the way it should be. Yes. Because like I said earlier, those are the vows that we took. I'm going to be here for you through sickness and in health. When you need me, I'm here.
Right. And that's one thing that I don't understand, because my husband, I wasn't even sick. There wasn't even a sickness going on, but I was in grad school, and I told him, I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to work, not even part-time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, through this, and he was like, do what you have to do. I got this. And, and that's why I really don't, because if I was sick, he would he would be like, don't worry about anything. That's not your job. You worry about getting
Yes,
well.
yes.
He would not let me worry about anything. And because he didn't let me worry about it when I was, when I was just in school. Yeah, I was just trying to get through grad school. He didn't let me worry about it. So yeah, I think that that it's a little bit of selfishness there.
Oh,
You get what I'm
absolutely.
saying? I think that it's a whole lot of somebody who was always taken care of and never had to take care of somebody else.
Exactly.
And it says something about their character too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think, when it comes to marriage, premarital counseling is important, because then you get a sense of the person that you're about to marry, their values, and what's important to them, the things that they would do in bad times, as well as good. You get a sense of who am I really dealing with.
And I want to know what type of relationship do you have with the women in your family. I think that's very, very important.
Yes.
Because if you treat your mother like she's a queen, and your grandmother, and you have respect for women, I can only imagine how you're going to treat me.
Right.
Because I'm going to be the other queen.
Yeah,
Right.
You're right.
It's very, very important how you treat women in your family.
And Kiki said earlier, how are these boys who turn into quote unquote men being raised? I can only speak. I'm an African American woman, and I'm giving my opinion from an African American female perspective. A lot of times in our culture, we coddle our boys, and we're hard on our girls. So we have girls who won't allow a man to be a man, and we have boys who expect a woman to be a man.
Right.
And on that note, I want to say this is great. This is great conversation. I want to say thank you for tuning in to Life Now. We look forward to discussing more topics with you guys, and look us up on lifenow.com, and look for us on Life Now Radio at blogtalkradio.com. Thank you. I'm saying goodbye. This is Jamie.
Kawana. Kiki.
Vanessa.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Life in your own words.
An everyday voice for everyday people.